And then once we have our diplomat back again, we'll take out the Aztecs. Now this is going to cause us a tremendous amount of aggressive expansion over here, but nobody else should care. This is just in Central America, and seeing as we're gobbling up all of those countries right now, there's no real downside to doing this. Enrique is the new ruler. We have Pedro coming into the heir to the throne, who is a 12-pointer again. That's awesome. Okay, so we probably want to be saving our papal influence so that we can get the beautify the local saint once again for the extra stability. And we want the stability because we are doing a lot of missionary stuff right now. Do I stream regularly? Yeah, most days. I stream 5 days a week. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Northeast Coast Pacific, West Coast Pacific. Let's check out the South Indian Ocean next. That sounds good to me. July 52. We're waiting for 53. Can you split colonial nations up? Mexico is getting big. No. So, the way it works is there are colonial regions, which is what this map mode is. So we've got colonial Canada, colonial Eastern America, colonial Louisiana, California, Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, La Plata, Peru, Cascadia, that's a trade charter, and then Australia. Australia is also a colonial nation. So you can have a Caribbean, a colonial region per one of these colonial areas, but you can't have like 2 colonial Mexicos. You can have a colonial Mexico and a colonial Louisiana, absolutely, and that's the way to divide it up. And it is a good idea to do so because for every colonial nation you have with at least 10 provinces in it, you get another merchant. And racking up merchants in that way is a pretty good idea. So we're going to get Nueva Granada, Nuevo Castillo, Hispaniola, El Dorado. We might go for a Argentine one. I'm probably not going to go so much for the north because I want other countries to grab the northern territories and then we can have colonial wars against them. Again, trying to maintain a bit of a balance there. Hello, Mordred's playing as Sirhind last night. Conformed Punjab into Texas Sikh Nation. Now, if only Timmy could ally Sirhind and Malwa. Nice. Three Kingdoms is pretty good, except I have trouble with the names of things, but it does force me to learn some Chinese history. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the great things about these types of games, is you learn so much history about areas you otherwise probably wouldn't have that much interest in. Like, same as you, I knew almost nothing about China. Or, like, even Chinese geography was beyond me, but because of Total War Three Kingdoms, I've learned a bit about that. And then EU4, learning just tidbits of history here and there, like an interesting mission or an interesting event comes up. I'm like, ooh, what's that about? I'll go and Google it. Then I'll learn. Did Aragon take Genoa or is that Florence? That's Florence. This beginner series is so great. Thank you for doing this. You are more than welcome. I enjoy doing them, and I know how valuable the beginner series to Italy was, so doing one for EU4 just makes sense. And I'll probably do one with CK3. The thing is, I only like doing the beginner-friendly series if I myself feel like I'm relatively competent. I probably could do one for CK2, but I don't feel like I'm in as good a position to like show how different mechanics work as I am with EU4 and Hearts of Iron. Same with Stellaris. In fact, Stellaris even more so. There are still some things in Stellaris which were released like 2 or 3 years ago. I'm still like, huh? That's a thing you can do now? Interesting. For example, artifacts. And yes, I'm in British summertime. Yeah, the Mamelukes have been really strong in this game. The Ottomans are basically a non-factor. And actually, the cause of the Ottoman demise was Venice. Venice has been absolutely destroying them. The Mamelukes have only recently started going after them, after Venice had already done the damage. Venice and the Commonwealth have been allied for basically ever, and they just keep on smashing them. And Venice has had a great game. Knights have started to do quite well. Commonwealth obviously very strong at the moment. And then the Mamelukes, who managed to hold out against me for like 70 years or something crazy. Missed the first part of this series. What did I do to solve the Crown Lands issue? I struggled with that as a beginner. How do you mean solve? What's the problem you're having? Because every country I've seen so far starts with just like 1% too little. So you start getting the Crown Land malices. To resolve that, you can either seize land, which makes your estates a little unhappy, but they do recover, or you can start developing. Any development you do in your own country is land that you gain, not them. So to overcome that initial deficit, and it really is like a 0.01% negative, you just develop like one province and you're there. But the big one, if you really want to take like chunks of territory, is seize land, is this one. But yeah, as I said, most countries start on 29.99%. I don't know why they're just that 0.01% too low, but they are. Some gimmick of the game. Alright, Aztecs. We're going to piece you out now as well. Why can't I take anything? Can't take this province because I can't core it. That's because these places are still being cored. So we'll need to hold out against the Aztecs until that's a thing. Oh, I see. What they're called? Teotihuacan had all of these miners. Yeah, they're all vassals. Okay, could potentially have taken more off of them, especially that, which is a gold province. We did get one. So Nuevo Castillo should start providing treasure fleets. Yes, they are. And I have taken all of the treasure fleet modifiers that I can take. And Castile's treasure fleets do tend to be pretty big. Which is something new for me. Mazzolo is producing gems. Get in. Okay, this was a great place to take over. Let's see what Limpopo can do for us. And we're doing just 5 colonies right now. Sayak's going to rise up soon, so we should get some troops in place for that. Colony. I'm just going to double check that we have no colonists on the way. We don't. So we're again just going to take one of the places which is pretty well built up. And we'll start you colonizing something else. What's the chance of gold here? 6%. I think I'd rather colonize some of this northern area. Coastline here is now entirely done. So I think it's time for Australia. And I think I'm going to start with a place that has a high chance of gold. which would seem to be over here. 6.4, 4.5, 6.4, 5.6, 6.2. Wajak. Unless there's somewhere which is going to be really easy to develop. And New Zealand, which I haven't actually discovered yet. .2 Yoglu. That'll do. Send the colonist. Let's start getting the Australian nation going. That'll be another merchant if we get at least 10 provinces there. Naples would like a royal marriage. Absolutely. Explorer's done again, so you can continue explorifying. You go ahead and work on the Southwest Pacific, which should be this bit, hopefully. Syac, revolt, as anticipated. Up there in the north, go and fight them. It's next to Pagarayan, so the fort will stop them from actually doing any damage. And Aragon just joined the Protestant side. So that in itself is going to be an opportunity for me to have a crack against them. So I think it is now high time that I start building up a proper army over here. So we're going to go up to 10 artillery, 20 cavalry, 20 infantry, 4 cavalry. And let's take a look at this real quick. So currently the combat width is 29. So in theory you would want to have 29 artillery in your army. Divide that in half, so we could probably go for 15. So we actually want to have about 15 guns per army, and then we effectively want to have 2 armies down here in Castile. Gain a level 2 trader for 50% off. That sounds amazing to me. Although we already have a 50% off spy master who's level 3. Cool. And we can purchase a new ability. We are still not Spain, so we still can't get the Spanish Tercio. Prestige per development from missionaries. We haven't had any problems with prestige. Mercenary discipline, we haven't been using mercenaries. War score against other religions. That one could be good. It would allow us to take more stuff. Blockade impact on sieges. That means if a province is blockaded, we get a free 1 point of siege. But I think right now I want the trade ship power propagation, which means that when we're protecting trade with light ships, they do 20% more. That sounds good to me. And we're going to max out Diplo soon, but in 2 months' time, we can go ahead of time. So we should be fine. Lahad Datu has been cored. Is there anything else to core? I don't think so. Oh, the other thing I should be checking is, as we convert these places to Catholic, I should be adding them to the Trade League. And this is going to make this area a lot more productive. And I have in fact converted a lot more of this area to Catholic than I had realized. We're still working on those. Okay, so this should be Castellan, Indonesia. And we are currently at 11.4% control of the 51 we need for another merchant. Cool. That's fine. Oh, and Pararoyang and Syac I should also be upgrading to level 2 centers of trade. Sometime sooner rather than later. Can't piece out the Aztec because it's inland and can't core it, and you can't occupy it, not your colony. That doesn't matter, my colony can't occupy it either. Because they're still coring this stuff. Once that's cored, they can take it. And then I can take it. I can take whatever they can take. Pararoyang. Let's grab that. Pretty sure they can't. Alright, let's move this over to a Nuevo Castillo. Oh, you're right. Okay. I stand corrected. In that case, let's go and switch this stuff to Nuevo Castillo. Why is that true? Because it's in their area? Because they can't core it either. Because they don't have the adjacency and it's inland. But okay. Well, I guess because they do have adjacency, it's just not an adjacent core. They can eventually core it, I can't. Okay. I understand. So this is, again, going to be a massive aggressive expansion. But this is going to give them a lot of land. Boom. And now we're really going to be raking it in with the gold income. So if we go to the subjects, we go and take a look at Nuevo Castillo. Their trade fleet's going to be worth 340 ducats when they are developed. The other thing I should do when Cao Zhao is finished, which it is actually invest some development into upgrading the gold mine here. And we would actually have the Diplo power to do that. So I'm going to start working on it. It's expensive, it's a horrible place, but it'll be worth it. Military technology, level 15, boom. Mauritian and charge infantry. Diplo 15, boom. Galleons and light frigates. So, first of all, we need to make a decision as to which kind of infantry we want. So, Mauritian do more fire damage, but they do less shock damage. The charge infantry does more shock damage. We are very much in the era of infantry doing fire damage, so we want those Mauritians. And it's not very much. It's from this point where infantry starts really doing fire. So Mauritian and Gustavian is like the development of fire, and then onwards is absolutely fire. Charge could still kind of be either way, but we want Mauritian. Twitch is being twitchy again? Not for me, it's not. 6,000 kilobits. Solid. Stable. Huzzah! Spiel Hallenholger, thank you very much for the 2-month resubscription. Very much appreciate that. I guess I'm staying for a bit. Well, you are more than welcome. And thank you. Any tips on placing world trade ports, since you can only have so many? Is downstream better than upstream, or are they best spread out? The absolute best place to put the world trade ports is your home trade node. Because there's no downside to having as much trade power in your home node as possible. I generally aim for about 70%. From 70% onwards, you're okay. Going above 70%, diminishing returns. So as long as you have world trade posts in your home node to get you to about 70, then it's fine. Then basically from there you want to spread out slowly. So for us, it would be anything feeding into Sevilla, particularly if they have a lot of other nodes feeding into them. So if they're an early link in the chain. So Tunis would be another one. Caribbean, if it wasn't a colonial nation, would be one. So yeah, for us it would be Tunis, probably Ivory Coast. It would be really beneficial to lock down the Ivory Coast as much as possible, so that could be another world centre. But like I said, the main place, home node. There have been slight hiccups. Yeah, I do notice that we have got more drop frames, but it seems to be stable at the moment. Oh no, it's flickering again. It's not gone as low as it did the other day. It went down to 1,700. Haven't had it at 0 yet. Yeah, it's fluctuating, but nowhere near as bad as it was the other day. Let me just bring up the tracking thing again. Twitch Inspector. And that way I can keep an eye on it myself. Oh yeah, I can see that. A few blips, but nowhere near as bad as it was last week. Okay, ships. I want to start really investing in light ships and heavy ships. So it is time for the heavy fleet to head home. Unless I want to go after Malacca at some point. Oh, even if I do, we can deal with that at the time. So let's go ahead and dock you. We'll let you repair, then we'll send you home. We'll probably just straight up delete the galleys. I don't think I particularly need them. These light ships we'll send back to Castile. We'll send you to Cadiz. Oh, unless you're damaged. You're damaged. Oh, no. Don't do that yet. Stay here. And we have 2 transports which we'll send to Palembang. Another province converted to Catholic. Good. Let's get Jumbi. Don't know what just converted. I didn't take enough notice. Acetyte can be added. Oh, it was probably these. Yeah, it was. Lots of conversions going on here. Okay. 46% control. Nice. And wow, my income has dropped. Missionary maintenance, I think, is costing me. And colonial maintenance is actually lower than I expected. Probably because there's a colonist still on the way. There is. Tariffs on tobacco. Tax it! How are the colonial nations doing? Liberty Desire and Hispaniola is rising slowly. And they are starting to pay me a more decent amount in terms of tariffs. They, for the first time, are paying me more than I'm paying them in subsidies. And I'm embargoing Morocco, which is expensive, but Morocco... is Morocco worth embargoing? Yes, they have an entrepot. In Tangiers. Although their percentage share of the trade here is pretty poor. Okay. I could really do with upgrading Sevilla to a world port. I'm a little bit surprised I hadn't done that already. Natives in Cameroon adopt the Sawabantu culture. And that's just finished another one, so let's go and grab a colonist from Gabon. And then we can start colonizing something else, probably out here. Let's get Tiwi. Grab Australia while we can. Yeah, Effa, I did. So, just gonna double check to make sure it's relatively stable right now before I answer again. Basically, you want to build world ports as close to your home node as possible. In your home node if you need it. So generally what I try to aim for is about 70% trade. If you control 70% of the trade in your home node, you're spot on. You can try to bump that up through world ports, so like Sevilla, I think I probably will upgrade. Because one, there's a lot of different modifiers already in here. It's the port to the New World, it has the estuary, and it will just go nicely with that modifier. Secondly, Cadiz is also in that node. World ports will will decrease the cost of development for everything in that area. So Cadiz will also get cheaper. In fact, Cadiz should be upgraded to a level 2 sooner rather than later. We can even do that now. Let's do that now. So if your home node gets to about 70%, then you want to fan out from there to other areas feeding in. So an excellent place for us would be the Ivory Coast, because it's the next link in the chain leading to the home node, and also it has a lot of stuff feeding into it, and it will have a lot of competition going out. So the more that we can we can lock down the Ivory Coast and send all the money basically from the east going into Sevilla, the better for us. Another option would be Tunis and probably Alexandria, as they would both feed into Sevilla as well. Benin would be a good choice there. Yes, exactly. Benin would be a really good choice if we took it. Or the Cape Coast. Because it has the slave entrepot, which is a local trade power, plus the entrepot. And you can have as many world ports as you have merchants. So we can have up to 8. But yeah, close to home is good. And also anywhere where you've just got a lot of competition and you have a lot invested. Like, if you were able to, Caribbean would be another one, just because there's a lot of competition going on. And it's relatively close to the home port because it feeds directly into it. However, Caribbean, because it would be benefiting the colonial nation, would also increase their share of the trade in that area. So it might not necessarily be good, though you do get 50% of your colonial nation's trade power, so it could be. So I would say probably Ivory Coast. Gulf of Aden is a good choice if you're trying to control the trade out of that. Alexandria can be a good choice if you're trying to control the trade in the Mediterranean. And then home nodes. Caribbean would be using colonial nation slot. You're not wrong. It might do, yeah. Probably. Because it's their territory. We do seem to be having a lot more issues at the moment. Says it's stable at the moment. 5.8 kilobits average. Is there a way of zooming this in? Yes. Yeah, it's had a couple of blips today. Usually only 10 seconds, maximized to a minute, so like 10 minutes ago was pretty bad. Did the Netherlands spawn? Don't think so. Still Holland. Okay, Explorer. Go and explorify. Find me more of the Northwest Pacific. Seems like an important area. Doomsday. Okay, so Gabon's just finished. How many colonists do I have currently in progress? 2. We have 3 colonies. That means I can have 1 more. So Luanda, we've already grabbed. So Matsolo we'll grab. And we'll send you... Mahe's already been grabbed by somebody. No natives. Yeah, some of the Indonesian areas we could probably really do with. And in fact, Halmahera, so that we have the adjacency to the Spice Islands, because now that I know that those are really, really valuable. Let's do that. We can go up in admin. That sounds good to me. And now we are once again ahead of time in everything. Huzzah! And we are going to take some loans. 3 loans should probably do it. We are going to start mass producing early frigates, and we're going to start really doing some trade protection work. We'll build 2 in every home node. And probably some also in the colonies, because why not? Cost doesn't change, it just takes longer. So throughout Cuba, that should do, and that's used up all of our sailors. Fine. And then for the rest of it, we are just going to invest in more buildings. Those are 0.5. Those are better. So upgrade you guys, upgrade you. Done. Awesome. Teotihuacan's having problems. Let's send you up to go and fight that. Yes, Faceless, I saw.